This is the Dawg Pound. What a great show we've got planned for you this week. Absolutely nothing.
Hanging out.
This is just a conversation with four friends who are experts in their various fields, and we're going to talk about the car business, starting with the Empress of Executive Management.
I really like the new title.
One of the most brilliant people in the car business, Miss Jennifer Briggs. Hi, kid.
Jim.
She got new hair to match her new title.
I do. I got new hair to match it. It's been a long time since I've got a haircut, so I figured I better get with it before I have people over for the holiday. So
I actually thought about showing up with my beard. I didn't shave for 6 days. Little known to the audience, I was in the hospital this past week. Standard routine operation, but still in all, I'd grown my beard out, and I was intending to see what that looked like. It looks like
November.
It's got little gray stripes here, and it'll look like a skunk. I did shave it off.
Let me take a picture. I want to see what this looks like.
I shaved it off for the show. And the Mad Russian, direct from Moscow, Max Zanan, Max Zanan, hey, big guy.
Hey, so I'm back. I'm in the country, actually. Yeah.
I can tell by the background.
Right? I'm in Pennsylvania, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Finally broadcasting, and we are in the same time zone.
You having lunch with John Fetterman?
I mean, I would actually
Pennsylvania.
Hey, Max, your social media is looking really good lately. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, so believe it or not, I hired a company out of Ukraine, of all places.
Ukraine? Why not?
Good. It looks great.
I got a wartime discount.
Oh my goodness.
Fantastic. And the queen of BDC. I mean, the woman who is the ultimate expert on all things internet marketing concerned, Bobbie Herron.
It's such a big stage to walk onto. Thank you. Yeah. I like to think so, but people say if you're confident, you're cocky. So I got to keep it toned down sometimes. So thank you for not doing that.
People say you're cocky. I don't get that. I have never been afflicted with humility.
I am. I often say I am not in a competition with anybody else but myself, and I go out of my way to help anybody that I can. So I don't know what it is about society that thinks that when people typically I see it with women, but when people in general are confident about something they're doing in their skill set, it's easier as an outsider to go, oh, they're cocky, than to go, wow, I'd like to learn that too. So, failure's hard for some people.
I'm going to tell you what, the four people on screen we are the best there is at what we do. I mean,
there's a lot of people that do what I do and do a great job, do what I do. And there are a handful that do a great job.
Yeah. But as far as I know, you're the best. You're the best of the best.
There's not very many. I mean, on the BDC side of things, Bobbie, there are some other BDC trainers, but I think what Jim is saying, because again, from an executive operations dealer, principal, general manager, trainer, there's not a lot of people that do, end-to-end type training. Everybody seems to be a one-trick pony. So take my compliment.
I'm saying thank you.
Max Zanan is the king of reinsurance.
That's right.
I mean, if you're thinking about reinsurance, you want to talk to Max Zanan here. I mean, he is the king of that realm.
But I'll tell you something more. I just processed 2 loans, for 2 car dealers from the F&I administrators that I work with, and both loans in this environment came in at 0 APR.
Nice.
I mean, just imagine that. Where do you go to get a 0 APR loan with one had a 24-month repayment and another one had a 60-month repayment?
And they got 0% on it. That is strong.
There's a lot happening in the car business right now. Used car values are sinking with a down arrow. And we've been selling cars at these inflated prices, and dealers have been stocking cars at these inflated prices. What are you seeing, Miss Briggs?
Well, I think, for the folks who have really been playing the short game instead of managing the capital that they've invested in their inventory, it's going to be a harsh winter. Was that famous? I don't watch a lot
red
of TV.
winter. Is
Winter
that
is coming.
right now?
Wait, I
Red
mean, what is that one show? I don't watch a lot of TV, but they're like, winter's coming, right?
It's
Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. Game of
Oh,
She
Thrones.
doesn't.
Game of Thrones,
Even I
yeah.
gave her the reference, and she was like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
I don't even know what it is.
You would
but
really
okay,
like that
thank you.
show if you would just watch it.
But it is definitely, it's time to tighten the belt and to actually look at it as an investment. Yes, you might have overpaid for it when you took it in, whether you got it at auction, you bought it privately, whatever you did. But now it's time to look at the dollars and cents and make some adjustments. I know a lot of the stores that I'm working with they're already looking at 45-day turns. They're looking at tightening it up even further.
Well,
Now's
I'll
the time
tell
to
you,
assess your marketing with that. Your merchandising needs to be on point. We've gotten a little
Oh,
sloppy
yeah.
with that
Oh,
overall.
we've been
last
so
couple
sloppy
years.
with that.
Yeah.
well, Carvana just laid off another 1,500 employees. They've lost their license temporarily in several states. Used car values are sinking rapidly, and buy sells are going crazy. The whole market has changed from where it was just a month ago. And
But we knew this was coming. We knew
we've been talking
coming.
about it. I've been predicting it. The bubble had to burst, and everybody was playing ahead of the game. And Max, you said something earlier about the high lines.
Yeah. So two points, before we get to the high lines. My advice to car dealers, and this is hard, a hard pill to swallow. Your first loss is your best loss. So if you're sitting on the inventory that is drastically depreciating, don't wait to even break even. Let it go, average it out.
Your first loss is your best loss. Let me tell you, Max, I have had so many used car managers and dealers, general managers, pay attention. This is some of my best advice. I will get a used car manager, and what do all used car managers say? Oh no, I can't replace that unit. We can sell our way out of it. I can't tell you, I'm a used car manager. We can sell our way out of it. No, you can't, you moron. There's a reason it's still here. No, well, I can't get one just like it for the same price. Doesn't matter. If it's been here 60 days and it didn't sell, move it.
Yeah, 60 days is too long in this market condition, guys.
Right.
And I get it. If you are not managing this as an investment and trying to turn this investment and make sure that you're right-sided, because as the values go down, your cost isn't going to move, but your profit in the end, and this is what Max is saying by that, your first loss is your best loss, because if you wait even another week, right, you might have another floor plan payment. You're going to have more, overhead. You're going to have this, you're going to have that, and the value is going to continue to go down. But I think it's really important right now to get into your data just to understand what are some of those core units that you typically turn within 2 to 3 weeks. That's where you should be focusing in today's market conditions, where we're just going to see drop.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
and
not
Jim,
even-
the high line,
Carvana and
Highline
Vroom.
vehicles.
Carvana
This is
and
the real
Vroom.
data.
Passionate.
Carvana and Vroom have overpaid. I mean, their arm cramped, Oh yeah, I mean the Carvana and Vroom really severely overpaid for the inventory they've got, and now they got to unload it. They got to offload that inventory. And what's going to happen if Carvana goes under? Max,
So
what do
right
you
now,
foresee?
I am cheerleading. I'm cheerleading for Carvana and Vroom not to go under, because
not?
I am convinced if they will go under, they will drag used car values down even more. And
Exactly.
it's the dealers, the franchise dealers, the independent dealers that are going to suffer.
The independent and the franchise dealers alike.
Well,
if they liquidate, how many units you think they would liquidate if they went under?
Well, probably 20,000. That would be my guess.
20,000.
Besides that, they will be
Besides
out
that.
of the buy-in market, direct from consumer. They'll be out of the overpaying market that was draining the values up.
Well, so, but values are already going down. And in my opinion, right, those units are still going to be in the market. So yes, we're already seeing drops, and Carvana going out of business is going to have an impact, most certainly, but it's still the same number of units for sale. All we're talking about is a cost shift.
But the buyers are not there, Jennifer. Everybody is so afraid of recession right now. And if recession, and I believe we're already in recession, to be real honest with you. I believe it's here.
I think maybe it's because I'm just a roll up your sleeves, gritty car person from Michigan who's already been through a huge
2009.
I definitely understand.
I was in recessions before you were born.
Listen, we're not talking about when
we survived the great automotive recession of 2009.
Right.
But you know,
yeah,
I don't want to root for them to go under. I understand that like their business model is different. We don't agree with all of it, but we feel that
the market gets what the market wants is all.
The market gets what it wants, but we're talking about 1,500 people that just lost their jobs, and how many more?
Which is nothing compared to what's coming on the tech side. But the leads that are coming on, at Facebook and at
Twitter,
Google.
Twitter's only got 75 employees Twitter, right now.
Right? Elon Musk is going to show that both Facebook and Google are so bloated with employees that I am expecting over 100,000 people between these two companies to be laid off in the next 90 days.
All go somewhere.
These are high executive level jobs too. These are high salaries, high commissions. Yes. We're not talking about $20,000 a year jobs here. We're talking about huge ones. Here's my stance on this always, outside of my opinion on automotive, is that I don't believe that in order for me as a dealer or me as a business owner to take my share of the market, that somebody else has to fail for me to do it. And I recognize that the business model is frustrating, but the truth is, like, Carvana had an opportunity because we didn't listen to customers. We gave them an opportunity because we didn't listen. And now there are scary things coming, and it has been for a while. There's always something going on. We're always
Bobbie, they never met the consumer satisfaction. That was mythology. What they really experienced didn't happen.
No, but that's what they based it off of. They based it off of, I can go online. I don't have to have somebody call me 50 times a day from the store going, can you come in? Can you come in? Can you come in? I'm working tomorrow. Can you come in? Oh, you can't get a number? We got to see the car.
There weren't enough people that would do it that way to make them profitable. There are only certain people that will take a car, have it delivered at their home, buy it totally online. There's only so many people that will do that. It is not the majority of the public that wants to do that or will even do that.
But there's a place for everybody in every kind of different search. And
there wasn't enough of them to support that business model.
Well, but if you want to use that philosophy, then what about all the dealerships who are in buy sells right now because they didn't do their shit and they're not Carvana?
They're in buy sells because they're smart.
That's what I'm saying.
Exiting, Bobbie, I don't think you can make this comparison because I think dealers that are selling now are smart because they're selling at the very end of the peak. They know
some of them
when they look in the mirror, they know this run that we had the last 2 years will never repeat itself in their lifetime. And maybe
we're never going to see 8,000 over sticker again.
That's right. And
automatic sales
this time to go.
That's not going to happen again.
The highest valuation possible, right? And
I just think that
the kids are not ready to take over, right? So I think the smart ones are exiting, not the dumb ones.
I think you got a mixture of both here. There are some really smart. I'm in the middle of working on 2 buy sells with clients right now. I fully support a buy sell, and the timing of it is smart. What I'm saying is we can't look at the same class of things and say, well, this one failed because of this, and then this one didn't. And yes, there's an economic downfall, and yes, there's a surge in interest rates and delayed car purchasing. We're going to have a huge issue with Facebook, mostly with Twitter. I would be concerned about right now with the amount of layoffs that are happening in those areas as well. But for a dealer right now to truly do business the right way and get out of the situation that we could potentially be in and do it smart is about merchandising. It's about marketing. It's about smart purchasing. It's about supply and demand. And it is not about if our competitor fails or they succeeds. If we are relying on a competitor to fail for us to be successful, then you are already failing.
So it's
I don't think anybody said that.
No, but that's what the talk is.
No, but my face said Carvana.
And I'm not just talking to us. I'm saying we're getting texts.
I didn't hear what Bobbie heard. I didn't hear anything like that.
I'm not defending anything I heard. I'm saying this is what I'm reading online on our social media pages and in this conversation when it comes to them. Mm-hmm. So I'm not talking at you guys. I'm talking to everybody in general.
Well, ultimately, what Bobbie is saying is not different than what Max is saying. It's just there's a gap in between. And we're talking about operational efficiencies.
Yes.
And that's kind of why I made the comment about coming through this once before. And I mean, we were so cash strapped back in 09. I mean, I was cashing my credit, sending just what I had to send to Ally to keep my programs going. And then everything else went to a credit union. So
I was walking contracts to a credit union to give cash on demand.
Yes, because so when we talk about really getting uber efficient, it's about making sure every penny, whether you're investing that in your inventory, you can't afford to, even right now, if you think about a lot of people, I know everybody wants to say they're 3 days to market when they take a unit in, but let's be realistic.
Prove it.
What's happening in most
Bust out that ruler voice. I don't believe it.
Well, and so even those types of expenses are going to stack up as the prices are coming down for consumer based. Your cost in what you've already got is already there. Are you trimming up and looking at other overhead? One of the things I think that is ridiculous and really kind of sets our middle management up for failure is we as leaders at the top don't include them in the overall operational profitability. So if we're not looking at each expense, whether it's used car department, new car detail as a percentage of the overall revenue, and talking to them about these forecasts, they are supposed to be a part of our company and a part of our business.
The buyers aren't in the market. The buyers have left the market. And understand the volume that people are looking for is not there. The buyers are hunkering down.
Well, it's Christmas. This happens every year.
What?
The buyers or the dealership buyers? We talk about consumers every year. Everybody is liquidating their inventory because nobody wants to have it for property taxes at the end of the year, right?
Okay.
So while these things are amplified by current market conditions, we're really talking about something that is cyclical already, that you should be prepped and ready. And you are going to have to tighten your belt, like I said earlier, a little bit more than you normally would.
In the right areas.
But if you're not inspecting that, if you're not looking at those things, you're not going to have a chance. And in that, for instance, Max is right. They're taking a step out.
No, you're agreeing with Max.
Somebody write that down. Did anybody else hear that? That was a real thing right there?
Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Briggs just said that Max Zanan is a friggin' genius.
That's not what she said.
Yeah, she implied it. She implied it.
The dealers that are not prepared to operate efficiently and look at every area should be taking a step out. And that is what I said, like Max said. They are being smart about it. They're not able to transition into that, or they don't want to work that hard. But we were talking about it.
What about the high lines, Max?
Oh my God, guys, Highlines. So I think there's a direct correlation between Highline vehicles and the cryptocurrency debacle. And I think
all the part that was insane.
Right.
The news has been on fire this week.
Right. So I think heavy cars like the Lamborghini SUV, like Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. I mean, if you are sitting on that inventory, I think it will depreciate drastically because all the crypto millionaires are back in McDonald's, serving a Happy Meal.
I think that what we're talking about in terms of how you kind of unbury yourself with this and stay out of water are the same things that you're supposed to be doing every year. They're the same things: fiscal meetings, statement meetings, operational analysis, using your data. Buying cars and bringing cars in based on the fact that you like a car, or you like the color, is an opinion. It's not a fact, but the systems that we all use have the data in it to be able to do that. And so the smartest dealers right now are sitting down and doing what they should be doing at the end of every year, in the middle of every year, and analyzing things and starting to have these conversations. But I will tell you, this is where we've gotten sloppy with, and I'm not judging, it's a lot of people. I'm just observation.
Yes, you are.
I'm stating a fact, not a judgment. We have gotten sloppy with our merchandising, sloppy with our ads. I'm not saying go cut
When
your
we were
ad.
off screen, Bobbie said you're a bunch of dumbasses. No.
Some, and if you're, like if you hear me talk and I say something, you're like, I can't believe she said that. I'm probably talking to you. Sorry, but
Okay, I saw a lot of buy sells in the auto snooze this week, and I saw a lot of buy sells. But you know what would impress me about the buy sells? What stood out? All the buy sells were with private dealer groups. There was not one buy sell last week of any significance that was a public company buying a dealer or a dealer group. It was a private dealer group buying another private dealer group. Every one of the buy sells.
Those big companies use a lot of data.
There is a lot. There's Toyota dealerships going for 7 times Blue Sky.
7.5.
7.5. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And everybody is all fired up that we're going to be in EVs. But I think they moved it up to 2025 max.
That's another fantasy, right?
Plenty of time.
Half the charging stations around the country don't work. Yeah.
I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now. There's a lot of fear in our world, and there's a lot of unknown. And when that happens, the market does tend to pull back. And on top of that, we've been real vocal as an industry and real cocky about, oh, you're going to pay 10 grand over sticker for this. We're even going to make you sign a form. We don't care because we have so much. And people are like, this is Christmas. These are things that are happening. This is a normal life. And there's uncertainty everywhere. I mean, putting politics aside.
Fuel oil cost 100% more than it did this time last year. 100%.
Yeah,
fuel oil.
And
in the Northeast and the Midwest, in those cold states where you live, Bobbie, fuel oil is a really important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, fuel oil, and it's, so you're looking at fuel oil is going up, and what did Buffalo, New York get hit with yesterday?
66 inches is what they had at the last count yesterday morning.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend Ben McDonald, who's a general manager of West Her. Ben and I have been friends for a long time. He said, Jim, I can't talk to you. We're doing snow removal. I said, well, how much snow removal? He said, we got 4 feet of snow on top of some of our cars.
A long time.
When we get a half an inch, or when we get a half a foot of snow, or even a couple inches of snow removal at a dealership is an all-day project because of the wind blowover. I mean, you can't just leave them sitting there. So the entire dealerships help out. Every time I'm in the South and I tell them like, oh yeah, the people at the
no idea.
They're like, what? You guys don't hire people for that? I'm like, this is how we live. Like, this is what we do.
I was consulting Terry Schulte Chevrolet in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I live in the South, grew up in the South. And it's kind of interesting. They were selling 1,500 cars a month.
That's a lot
in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And this was my programs. I was so proud of myself, and I was proud of them. And Terry Schulte Chevrolet, and I think Rydell ended up buying them. But Terry Schulte Chevrolet, they were like mechanized when the snow hit. I mean, they were like stormtroopers out there, blading the lot, cleaning a line. I mean, they all hands on deck. Everybody was out there. I think the office help was out there cleaning.
Yeah, it's a normal. It's just our normal. I mean, but like, look, I have clients in Texas and Louisiana who have to move cars when there's hurricanes. We don't have to do that, and we don't get snow every day. But it is a strong team bonding experience for sure.
Well, I worked with the Rudy Luther group in Minnesota. I worked with the Weiler group in Wisconsin. I've worked in some cold weather dealerships. I was consulting the stores, and every time I saw snow removal, it was just incredible. And I looked at that storm; it just hit the Northeast. I'm going, oh my gosh!
That's so uncommon. That will be hard for them. They are landlocked in most areas. And the problem with that amount of snow is not removing it. It's where do you put it? It takes
Right.
days and days and days to melt. So they're landlocked and don't have places to make these giant snow piles. It's a very dangerous situation for them out there. And it's not common.
I was at Terry Schulte Chevrolet, and one night while I was consulting the dealership, I decided to go to the casino. So here I am. There are walls 8 feet tall of snow on either side of the road. I mean, I'm driving through a tunnel of snow on either. So I get to the casino, and it's a Native American casino, and I get in there, and it's a real Indian dealing cards. I mean, braids, everything with feathers. I mean, there's a Native American, and I'm playing blackjack. He was paying me on 23, and he was trying to collect sometimes what I won. And it was such an amateur.
I like that the snow takes you back to a bonding experience. But, I mean, maybe, 66 inches of snow is not normal for that area, but climate change, Evie, just saying, just dropping it out there.
I worked with a lot of dealerships in Buffalo, like the Basil dealerships, the Gambino Ford. I worked with dealerships all over that market. I actually worked with the Southtown group. I've seen a lot of snow. Okay, well, let's talk about what's going on in the marketplace with dealers right now, looking at the prices going down. Max, how's that going to affect the dealers now that consumers are drawing back?
Besides the cars depreciating, right, and the interest rates are going up, I think now the advertising expense will go.
Well, delinquencies are up too now. Mm-hmm. Delinquencies are way, way up. We have record delinquency right now.
There'll be an added expense of advertising because the last year and a half, 2 years, you could have really relaxed, right? If you had the car, they would find you, and they would pay you thousands over sticker. Now, all of a sudden, you have to go back. So I feel really good about advertising agencies that, took it on the chin, because dealers were canceling everything, right? Because they're like, listen, I don't need this.
Nobody was advertising.
Right. So at least this business is coming back.
Keep in mind, like with the advertising thing, like SEO is a great point, right? So for dealers who were out there shutting off instantaneous gratification, they have the ability to turn it back on. But if you shut off things like your SEO and your competitor, you're hosed for 6 to 8 months, if not longer, all because you wanted to save $3,200 a month to make 50 grand more. It just doesn't. Those aren't good financial decisions, and that's why I'm leery of people right now, because this is the time of year where advertising gets cut the most. I'm
telling dealers right now, get rid of your lead providers, heavy up on your SEO. You don't need any lead providers. Fire all your lead providers. Get a good SEO company that knows what they're doing.
Let's not forget there have been 3 changes, 1 major and 2 minor changes to the SERP result, Google's SERP.
Right.
Search engine results.
Massive.
So if you live under a rock like so many of us workaholics do, you might not have noticed some drastic changes to what shows up on that first page of Google search. Your local SEO is so important. And it's even surpassing the Google business profile, because now Google is injecting products into maps, and they're actually starting to, oh my gosh. So you're going to see, if you haven't already seen and you're paying attention to this stuff, your Google business profile search views have plummeted because Google is not showing your profile. Sometimes they're showing it condensed, but more often than not, they're showing it in the map pack, or watch out for video, because one of those changes was about quality content. So pay close attention, not just to your SEO, guys, but make sure you're seeing what's happening in searches around you. I mean, and especially, right, this is the time. Max is saying people need to increase advertising because the margins are going to be skinnier. A lot of people we work with are going to be tightening up, maybe demanding more juice from the investment. But so you can't just throw on 10 grand of paid search and hope that it's going to work, because Google has a new paid search position that they're going to put above almost everything for those low funnel auto intenders. Pay attention.
And the other thing you need to watch out for is AutoNation just bought 6.5% of TrueCar.
Red flag.
Red flag. I mean, last year I was all upset that CarMax bought into Edmunds, bought a major share
Another
of
red
Edmunds.
flag.
Now,
Do you know?
you're going to do business with Edmunds when CarMax owns a substantial portion of it, and now TrueCar is owned by AutoNation. You want to share your data with those people?
That's what I'm saying. I know I say this in it because I stress it a lot. I'm super passionate about this, but you have got to protect the data that you have. The availability for a third-party vendor to put coding in on your website that tracks your customer, that serves them up an algorithm and sends them somewhere else is not only powerful, it's simple. It is simple to steal that data. And so when we think about data, I think people think, oh, data in the CRM, oh, customer social security numbers. No, I mean the physical, invisible footprint following them around and serving them up subliminal advertising from your competitor.
You've got vendors serving your customers up to competing dealers that you are paying that vendor to do business with you.
A dealership has no business being allowed to own some.
You need to fire AutoNation. You need to fire TrueCar. You need to fire Cars.com. Get rid of all lead providers. This is my opinion based on common sense and the fact that I have an intelligence level higher than an earthworm.
AutoNation made a brilliant decision there, though. I don't like it at all, but wow.
No.
Because the technology and stuff, and I hadn't seen that yet. I've been kind of off the grid this weekend. But the ability to just monopolize a market using that data and have your own advertising for your own stores be so inexpensive is so crazy to me that would have even been allowed. But
there's only two places dealers need to spend their money: social media marketing and SEO. And you need to do it in-house and have an agency that specializes in SEO. And don't spend any money with these lead providers.
Yeah.
They're not working on your behalf. They're serving your customers up to other dealers and charging you to do it. Dumbasses.
The caution I give everybody in this, though, is you have to do that, but you have to do it right. Like if you're looking for a full-fledged SEO team, you call Greg Gifford, you tell him I sent you. Right? You're looking for some really great Google My Business. I'll let somebody else on the show take that over because I think that you should call Jennifer Briggs. A lot of people don't know that she owns that company, but she does. And they kill it.
Jennifer Briggs does.
And I don't promote by even my best friends unless they're killing it. So, but here's the thing with this. If you're going to do it, you have to do it right, or you're going to have the third-party lead providers. Your receptionist is not qualified to decide what kind of content goes on social media. And when you do social media leads in these big companies and you even think, we can push it to CRM and answer from there. That is not how those customers communicate, and it will not convert, which means you'll still need to pay the big providers. This is an easy decision, but it's not a simple one.
And if you were, like I just said a minute ago, paying attention to Google's the search engine results page, you're going to notice that those third-party people, these third-party players are all buying that brand new ad position that Google has been offering, and now Bing, of course, following suit there, the vehicle listing ad. You will see Auto Trader, CarMax, Carvana, Car Gurus, because organically they're not capturing. So they're paying for the traffic using your inventory. So why would you allow them to bring traffic to their website off your cars and then serve them up with other people's inventory when you could very easily buy the same ad position?
I'll tell you why, they don't know how. So they should call you because they don't know how. And this is why
they could go to the website scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Next Level Digital Solutions, which is Jennifer's company. And is that Dot Solutions?
It is Dot Solutions. It is Dot Solutions because that's what we do.
This is why there's Carvana and stuff, though. This is why, guys. It's not just the customer experience. This is why, because somebody has to be paying attention every single day to the changes that Google is making, to the changes to algorithms, to be updated and be an expert in that field in order to help you. The people in your dealership are not qualified to do this. And the person that you hired from the school or that you promoted from the BDC who wrapped all the gifts at Christmas and runs around and does all your bullshit is not a marketing director.
Well, it's all about understanding, and it's about, just like you said with merchandising, it's about how you're going to operate your retail business in today's market conditions. I mean, everyone's talking about it, whether you call it distance retailing, which I think is probably why AutoNation has an interest in TrueCar because of that new platform, I'm certain, or you call it digital retailing, or you call it modern retailing. It doesn't really matter. It's just retailing in whatever current market condition you have. And right now, and yes, Bobbie's point in the very beginning that we created and fueled this negative campaign because with Carvana and saying that we're bad, then so did TrueCar and so did Edmunds, and everybody said, right, dealers aren't going to operate in the way consumers want to. But you have to pay attention and then make sure you're ready to fill the need. Too often, we can't see the forest for the trees. And it's not like I'm the smartest person in the world. I'm just a very smart businesswoman who uses and analyzes all the data necessary to make the most beneficial, meaning largest ROI investments for my company, whether that's in inventory or advertising or staffing. Right now is a time, yes, we're going to push inventory so we don't have all those property taxes because we're paying attention to that expense, right? But what's the ROI on your training investment? As things are getting skinny, are you investing in your processes and your software and your CRMs and getting things ready to go to have a clean house so you can operate efficiently instead of just wasting money? I did say earlier this week, which it's only Tuesday, so we might as well have just taken that investment out into the parking lot and lit it on fire.
Well, one of the subjects we've been talking about for weeks now is the fact that the manufacturers are going to the agency model. I was interviewed by Simon Boket here, who is an English podcaster in the auto industry. And right now, Europe is on fire with the agency model. Australia, they're suing Cadillac. I forget how much money they're for the agency model. Mercedes.
Yeah,
lost my head. No, not Cadillac. Scratch that. It's Mercedes.
I thought I missed
the Australian dealers are suing Mercedes for how much is that lawsuit? 50 million, 100 million. I'd say it's a big number.
Yeah.
But anyway, for the agency model where they're divesting themselves of dealers, selling direct to the public, December 6th. 2 p.m. Tuesday, Eastern time, 2 p.m., we're going to have 5 CEOs, 5 of them from state dealer associations, and some of them are suing Ford Motor Company for what they perceive to be illegally divesting the dealers and creating two corporations and getting around the franchise agreements. What do you think, Max?
Oh, look at Max's face. He's ready to talk about that one.
This is Max. I said, Max, I teed you up. You got a softball, Max. Hit it out of the park. Come on.
I mean, listen, guys, I think the sooner the better. I think you mentioned 5 dealer associations. It should 50.
I did 5.
Yeah, it should be 50 dealer associations suing Ford, GM, and every other manufacturer.
I could have had more. I only got 5 CEOs of dealer associations because the limitations on how many people I can have on the broadcast.
Right. I feel this has to be a hot stove experience for these manufacturers. Right. They should not even be thinking or considering going direct to consumer. I don't care if it's electric, if it's powered by air, water, or if it's an internal.
Who cares if it's electric?
Right. It doesn't matter. We have a franchise dealer model, and it needs to be protected at all costs. And I'm pretty disappointed in these dealer associations. If you look back, the fact that they allowed Tesla, to be where Tesla is today, because I think at that time, a lot of these guys were completely asleep, and now chickens are coming home to roost because, after Tesla, you got Rivian, you got Fisker, every other, electric manufacturer who wants to go direct to consumer. But now this thing is contagious, right? And now you have Ford who wants to do it, GM who wants to do it. I'm sure Stellantis will want to do it. So I really hope, these dealer associations together with ADA come out swinging and swinging hard.
We're going to have Jason Wyrick from West Virginia Dealer Association. My good friend for a long time, Don Hall from the Virginia Dealer Association.
I'm excited to have him on again. Him and I were set to link back up, and I had COVID, so we need to reschedule that.
Don is great. I got Bob Okoniewski back too from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And so let me see who else we got. Jason, I'm trying to find for Jason's.
What broadcast is that? As you said, so the audience knows, the 6th?
It's December 6th, Dawg Pound. And it's going to be really, really cool. Don Hall helped me line up the others. Jason Wilson. And let's see, where's Jason from? Which dealer association? I'm looking for it real quickly.
Don Hall and I are going to take over the world in 2023. It's already been decided.
Don Hall is fun.
Bandwagon.
I was okay. Jason, I don't know where Jason. Okay, Jason. I'm looking for it. Talk, guys.
Listen, I think,
well, you're talking out loud.
Yeah. Listen, I think traditional advertising is going to make a comeback too. You'll come back to radio, to TV. I understand.
So many people will be sitting at home unemployed and have time to watch it.
SEO that, but they will be going back.
People will have to be considered.
Oh, we got Marty Milstead from Mississippi. Marty Milstead from Mississippi. Yeah.
Oh, that's the 5th. I was waiting for the 5th. Yeah.
Mhm.
2 Jasons, a Bob.
I think traditional advertising and digital advertising have a baby that lives in the middle, and it's things like Spotify. It's things like that. It's not necessarily like I don't even have cable, but I have Hulu. And every time I say to a dealership, they go, I want to do TV. Well, okay, well, here's like Hulu. There's these different things. No. Like cable. You want to be on at like 7 o'clock? Because there is a place for that. And in certain markets, but there's also an element of traditional that has gone digital that gets kind of lost in the balance.
Yeah. But also another point I want to make is that, like you have 7 stages of grief.
Right.
So I think right now car dealers are in the first stage, which is shock and denial.
Right.
And when you shocked and then you're in denial, you tend to be confused. So the is paralyzed, right? So we have to wait for them, right? Because this is all in your head, right? So you have to wait for them to get to the second stage, right? Which is pain and guilt. Right. And then there's a blame game. Right. And then, they get to anger and bargaining. Right. This is all internal, guys, but they're all going through this. And, the point that I'm trying to make is that we have to wait for them to get to the last stage, which is acceptance. And once you accept it, right, then you can make rational decisions on advertising, on staffing, on pay plans.
What are you advocating for dealers to go to therapy to get through this faster?
No,
before they
I'm
lose
saying
their
that
franchise?
You said recently we needed a therapist on the tribe.
They're going through it. It's normal without even realizing. That's what I'm trying to say. No therapy can, speed up the process. Everybody goes at their own pace, but you will see when you speak to dealers that majority of them are in the first stage, which is shock and denial.
I have not talked to anybody in denial. All the dealers I'm talking to know what's coming. They don't know how big or how bad, but they're prepping for it already. I don't know who you're talking to, Max. That's
but
in
Jennifer,
denial
when you
about
sit on used car inventory, that's $10,000 to $15,000 upside down per unit. That's your living proof of denial.
So look,
there's a lot of dealers. There's a lot of dealers right there too.
Right. That's my point.
And here's part of it too, is like people, remember back in the day when we used to use brokers at a hardcore level, when we used to really exchange inventory all the way across the country. And then we kind of went like, brokers, we don't need them. This would be a good time for you if let's say you're in California and you have a Subaru on your lot and you're like, what do I do with that? About 5 states right now where the value is twice the amount that it is inside of yours. And we fear that networking, but people belong to 20 groups all over the country. And we have conversations like this.
Oh, I'd be
Don't
shipping those
afraid to
Subarus
analyze
to
it.
Colorado. They're the highest prices in the nation.
Right. Don't be afraid to analyze the data. And look, if you are like most people, you probably don't know enough about analyzing the data, and that's okay. If you're a GM sitting in an office and you're like, I don't know how to do that, don't pretend you do. Reach out to somebody who does and be open to learning it. Because imagine if you took your superpower and one of our superpowers and you put them together. Be like, I don't know who the coolest superhero
We need to
is.
get
but
Jason
that's what
Rice
it'd be.
back on this show.
Like, it's interesting to me that I think sometimes people think that when we're talking about this stuff, they feel like, oh, they just think dealers don't do anything right. Oh, they just think that's not true. We work with hundreds of dealers across the country all the time. And the information that we have and what we're seeing, it's coming from people just like you. And I get it.
I speak to 100 dealer principals a month. Now, most of that is on the keyboard.
Yeah.
I say I speak to them. Most of that is on the keyboard. I'm talking to them in chats, but I'm talking to 100 different dealer principals every single month, either on LinkedIn, Facebook, or they're contacting me directly. So you dealers out there, you got to understand, we're talking from experiential observation.
Yeah.
You see your little narrow window in your own market, but we're talking about what we see in many markets and what we hear from many dealers. You got a 20 group, I got a 100 group. Okay.
Right. And that's, I think sometimes people are afraid that like, well, I don't want somebody to know that I don't know this, but that's just stunting your growth. That's weak, not asking for help.
So
we call things out on the show all the time, but you don't hear us calling out particular people for a lack of knowledge or for raising their hand and saying they want to learn something. That's not something you see any of this group doing, and you never will, right? We'll straight up call out a vendor in a hot second because that's what we do. But an individual who is saying, hey, I don't know this part, we're not going to do that. You might have an amazing skill set in one area and just not know this one thing, and it could cost you your business. And that is stupid.
What else is happening in the market, Max?
Listen, a lot of dealers got fat and lazy. It's going to be a hard lending for a lot of these guys.
I agree with you, Max.
I like how whenever we talk about people who are stupid, we never mention the girls. We're like, all these guys, you're right.
Right.
Out there, women dealers, principals. I don't know anybody that's not doing it.
I just looked at my hard copy.
I want to say this, that this is the time, guys, for dealers to really rely on their finance managers. Because during the last 2 years, nothing really changed in F&I. Meaning, F&I profit didn't increase the way front-end profit increased, right? We weren't selling, vehicle service contracts for $5,000 over stickers, right? So now you have these best, like Jim says, the best trained, best closers in your building. And if you're not going to utilize them now, then just on you, because people that got fat and lazy are at the front end of the showroom, not at the back end of the showroom.
The banks have tightened up because delinquencies are up. You better have an F&I manager that knows how to hang paper.
Right.
If you can't hang paper, you can't sell anything because delinquencies are up, credit scores are going down. And
with all these layoffs across the board, it's just going to get worse.
And there's people out there that have been drunk on free money, and the free money isn't out there anymore. So all of a sudden, credit scores are plummeting with delinquencies going up. I know a number of the banks have tightened up. I think Wells Fargo, one of the dealers was saying Wells Fargo isn't buying quite as strong as they were, a couple months ago. A lot of banks have tightened up. Your people have gotten really weak on getting down payments. You better be able to get down payments. And I don't care if you're an A to Z dealership or your traditional manager desking dealership, doesn't matter to me. Your people are going to have to be a lot better than they were. And you're going to have to get back to the basics of how to sell a car. Jennifer?
Well, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I don't know how many times on this show I can say cutting corners cuts gross. And when we talk about efficiencies, it's about making sure you have everything in place. Everybody knows the process and we don't skip steps. As we move forward into the next 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, this is the time you need to make sure that everyone is working together Everybody knows their functions. If you're not inspecting what they're supposed to be doing, you need to do it now before the bubble is 100% burst.
Inspect what you expect.
Inspect what you expect. I was just talking with somebody last week. Now is the time to make the investment in training or in these updates to help you monitor and do those inspection points. It's so hard to take a step back and try to see where you're leaking. If you don't do it now, you will be hemorrhaging later. So take that time, and especially, right, if you're trying to offset some of these great profits and gains, make those investments, do it now. Everybody does, right? I mean, this is just general business, advice. If you're going to invest in a new software system, ink it now, right? Get that in your 2022. Then when things are slow in the first quarter, that's when you train everyone on it. That's when you do those things on it, and you can start getting more and more efficient with your business. Well, I don't know who is going to be best suited to make sure every single department manager, I mean, I know who it's supposed to be, ultimately, the very top, right? Make sure all of your managers know their job and they're holding their people accountable. So often we talk about the bottom tier, the masses in the dealership, but where we see those profitability leaks is when your managers don't know what you need them to do. So let's take a good hard look at that.
Well, and if you're a dealer, like now would be a great time to, and most people will say they know this, but maybe you don't. Now would be a great time to assess that bulk of money that you made this year, what education credits are available for tax purposes, and to potentially invest in those now with the activity happening first quarter, second quarter. Because I have a lot of dealerships that I work with that have significantly increased their gross this year and what they're going to net out. And sure, they've got great accountants and that's fine. But if you're not talking to that accountant about educational credits for your team right now, you should be. It's a good perk and it's a good incentive and it will help you financially this year. Right? Charitable contributions, people. Let's be good humans.
Be a good human. Listen to you.
It's my favorite thing. You have to be a good human.
And okay, you're BDC. What is the future of BDC right now? We're at the end. We're closing down another year. We're going into Thanksgiving, and here you are being charitable. TheBeesKneesAgency.com. Bobbie Herron. What other advice do you have, kid?
Man, if you're a store that has a BDC in it, especially right now, I am really stressing for all of my teams to reevaluate the KPIs that they're using for their teams right now. We get stuck in this whole rut of, well, what did you set? What did you show? What did you sell? And those are base level KPIs. But right now, we also have to take into account differences in inventory. I'm looking more at, if I'm running a BDC, I want to see how many people somebody is engaging with. And from that, what are they creating? And I'm looking at longer term of, how long did we make an attempt? Not a generic kind of attempt. And this is a big deal.
Are you physically going in these dealerships and helping them do this?
Yeah, I do. Okay. We are honestly, I had COVID for 3 weeks and it laid me out pretty hard. And so I'm playing my own level of catch up right now, but we're sold out through the beginning of the year because we do go into the dealerships. We do a combination of virtual and in the dealership, and then we do operations as well. So we're looking across the board at what changes we need to make for that for fourth quarter. And I'm not trying to say that somebody should have an increase in pay or we should make an excuse for lack of performance. I run a high performance culture. So what I believe is if we're going to actually improve the people that are already on our team efficiently, we have to know what their data is. And so I'm telling all my stores, please dig in and what you don't know, ask and have these conversations. I want to see every BDC manager in every sales meeting. Every meeting that a manager is sitting in from sales, I want to see BDC in there. I want to see finance in there, working as one team, moving in one direction, because the biggest loss of opportunity to me inside of the store and the biggest leaks, as Jennifer said, is a lack of communication between departments. And I know nobody likes to go to meetings, but look, this is how it works. You have to have conversations with the people that you're building a business with. Yeah. And if not, you'll be playing a guessing game the whole time.
Now, Max, you've got 4 books out there. How's your book selling?
Books are selling great. You know how Bobbie says pro tip. I want to give a pro tip, from my perspective, and the pro tip is this, when times are hard, cash is very limited, right? And a lot of dealers will need a cash infusion or injection either to operate their business or to expand, because we all know that there'll be even more stores for sale. So if you're serious, about getting access to cheap money, I would really speak to your F&I providers and see if they can get this done for you. And if they can't, reach out to me. Maybe I
Can this guy here do it?
Right. Like I said in the beginning of the show, I just did 2 loans, for $2.5 million at 0 APR.
I think we were talking about that before the show, Max. So yeah, please share that.
Yeah.
You just did 2 loans, 0 APR.
So the way the dealer
why did they get
loan,
0? Wait a minute. Why did they get 0 APR?
Yeah.
What motivated the lender to do that?
So the lender happens to be, an F&I third-party administrator, and the way the loan gets repaid is through future F&I sale of F&I products.
Yeah, so because there was an incentive for the lender to do the 0% loan, but it didn't cost the dealer anything. They would sell those products anyway. They would sell those products anyway. What an incredible way to do business. Max at maxzanan.com. There's how to get in touch with you. Want to put your phone number out there?
Yes, it's 917-903-0312. And I actually answer it like I use it like the way it was designed,
Oh, you mean a call?
Right.
That's so old school. That's not what it's designed to do.
Give me that phone number. Give me that phone number one more time, Max.
917-903.
Okay, hang on. 903. Okay.
0312.
You know what's funny, Max, about that? I told a dealer last week who's a client of mine and a personal friend. She was like, you answer this phone like 1 out of 10 times. And I was like, I'm trying to teach you how to get people to communicate. I think that you're going to have to send more interesting messages if you'd like me to answer the phone. It's practice.
I think it's 1 in 20 times you answer.
It just
depends.
Is
that your number, Max?
Video text works best.
Yes, Jim, thank you.
Okay, so
video text will get it.
You arranged 2 0% loans for dealers on how much money?
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million. So if dealers need cash for acquisitions or projects, because that's the other thing. The manufacturers are requiring dealers to outfit for EV, and outfitting for EV is a $300,000 to $500,000 expense for dealers. $300,000, $500,000 to outfit for EV. And guess what?
And then sell
the
one.
The manufacturers are. Let me get on the big screen here a second.
Theatrics about EV.
Dealers, pay attention. The manufacturers are raping you on the price of the EV conversions. Right. The charging stations are 3 times, twice as much as any other vendor would sell you identical equipment. The manufacturers are marking it up and raping their own dealers on the price of the EV upgrades.
When said something super controversial, I was like, how is that any different than a lot of other programs that they
well there is some corruption at the top levels of many of the manufacturers. I'm not saying that your particular manufacturer is a criminal, but there's a lot of criminals at top levels in dealerships pocketing money that is being filtered in strange
But if you were offended when you said it, he might be talking to you.
Yeah, if you're offended, I'm talking about you.
Right. It makes you feel some sort of way.
But dealers are getting raped. It's like the old furniture scam with General Motors a couple of years ago. Where you had to buy General Motors brand furniture for twice the value that you
ugly.
Get similar furniture for elsewhere.
Right.
I don't know who pocketed anything there. I doubt anybody did. Nobody pocketed.
Listen, you know what? April Hammond is. I got to tell you
there
something.
was no criminals at the top of that scale.
I gotta tell you something real quick that I learned this week. And April Hammond Thrasher is going to be so proud of me because she made me go to church this week. We'll talk about that later. And the message was uniformity is not the same as unity. And they said, look for a moment for that. Being uniform is not the same as unity, and unity is a much more prosperous road to take. So that furniture was to make everybody look uniform.
Anybody wants a free 0% loan? There's Max's number. I'm taking it off the screen in a second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this has been really a fun dog pound because we didn't have a subject. We just talked. This is a conversation between friends.
This is what it looks like when we hang out, guys.
It is actually.
This is just us hanging out. This is what we talk about when you're not around.
It is.
Yeah,
And,
with a few more adjectives.
Oh, a lot more adjectives. We don't.
I curse a lot off air.
We don't curse on the dog pound. If you noticed, you said Bobbie will slip one in every once in a while.
Just the A word or the S word. It's not allowed, but it be definitely never the F word. Never one time. I learned that.
Oh
lesson.
my gosh. Anyway, that's Fustercluck. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, wave goodbye to the audience. What a fun